to contain a disease, how to identify the levels of prevention, and to know or recognize the global health targets. Any disease appear in the world, like the situation we are in today. There have to be some actions to be done for containment of this disease, whatever possible. So, to manage this, we will do some steps, and these are the actions that aim to eradicate, eliminate, control, or prevent the impact of that disease or disability that may happen from that disease. These actions can be done at the individual level or at the community level. The individual level, when a physician manage a patient, one patient, either by giving him some preventive measure or curative measure. Preventive, like giving him a vaccine; curative, like giving him treatment or a medication or a surgical intervention, whatever needs. Or it can be at a community level, like doing chlorination of water to prevent waterborne diseases, for example, or give mass media health education to prevent some problems, some health problems in the community. So, as a response for a disease, these are coming in levels or in sequence. Starting with prevention, when we try to prevent the happening of that ill effect. And now in this lecture, we will take prevention, which is the main objective and the main duty of a community medicine physician, is the prevention and control. We will take it in details. After we do the prevention, of course, we will start to control the situation, control the disease. Then, if we were succeeded to control the disease, we can reach the elimination of the disease, and finally we can reach eradication of the disease. Each one of these refers to certain criteria that differentiate one from the other. I mean that control differs from elimination, differs from eradication, and in this lecture we will try to explain all of them for you. Starting with the prevention, which is the first defense, the first thing that everybody, when there is ill effect, think to do it before the disease, trying before the disease have, or the pathological changes have happened. Disease prevention is defined more in levels. We do prevention in specific levels. These are 4 levels. Actually, they were 3, primary, secondary, and tertiary, but in the last maybe 20 years, 4th level have been introduced, the primordial, which is before the primary level. So what is the primordial? Prevention is the efforts or actions done to reduce the onset of risk factors. Any disease have certain risk factors have certain target population, have its own criteria to attack the persons that it affects. So in this level, which is the before the primary level, we try to prevent the factors that may lead to that disease. For example, smoking. We know that smoking is one of the risk factors for many diseases, for many ill effects, cancers, cardiovascular diseases, etc., etc. So when we do a preventive measure for those who are not already smokers, who are not already exposed to this risk factor, this will be a primordial prevention. Also, eating patterns, physical exercise, all these are considered action on the risk factor before even we try this risk factor or we go in this risk factor. This can happen actually through health education for individuals or in a mass media. And mass media may be in posters, in TV, in internet, for people who are more than those who are we can interview or we can see and talk with. The second level for prevention is the primary prevention, and here they include measures taken to prevent the disease before its occurrence in the what is called pre-pathogenesis phase, before the pathological changes start, before the actual disease have happened. This primary prevention, which is the most important, if we can do it, it will help in preventing all the sequelae that may happen from a certain disease. This can be done, primary prevention, by two main ways: the health promotion and the specific protection. health promotion أو بالعربي نسميه تعزيز الصحة أو التشجيع على الحياة الصحية، هو هذا اللي الوسيلة الأولى اللي نستخدمها بالبرايمري prevention. Health promotion is intervention that seeks to eliminate or reduce the exposure to the harmful factors by modifying human behaviors. Here we are trying to decrease the risk factors for those who are having these risk factors, giving them information, trying to make their risk factor or change their risk factor, whatever it can happen. It aims to offer specific processes that will support individuals in practicing healthy behaviors for improve or protect their health. How can I do this health promotion? We have certain ways. First of all, it is health education, like the primordial, but here the health education is concerned with those who are risky, who have the risk factors. Smokers, for example, we can give them very good health education to quit smoking because of the sequelae of this bad habit. Also, environmental modification can be done for promote health. Some nutritional interventions is also another way to promote health and changing in lifestyle and behavior, which is the most difficult thing to do, but it is one of the most important ways for promoting health. Who are the target people for giving health promotion? First of all, as I said previously, they are those who have the risk, who are under risk of having certain diseases. So individuals at risk of health problems are the first people who are the target for health promotion. Also, we can give health promotion through health education or any other mode or any other way for those who are influencing others, especially those who are influencing people at risk. For example, we can give very good health education and health promotion actions for teachers in the school to influence their students from, for example, eating junk foods, which is a big health risk factor for many diseases. Also, health promotion should be or can be given to those who are putting the policy to adopt and foster the healthful changes in the environment. When we give them health promotion, they will start to give instructions and do what have to be done to adopt healthful changes, to improve the health services, and to encourage healthful person behavior change. When there is someone who is in a position that he can decide in a high authority position, and he can give instructions and decide decisions that can help others to promote their health, those people need to be given a good health promotion activities. Now, the primary prevention is done by two ways. The first way is the health promotion, and the second way is by the specific protection measures. And these are many of them. We can say that giving immunization or giving vaccine to people, whether they are children or adults, is the first and the most important and the most popular type of specific protection given for people to prevent them from having certain infectious diseases. And actually, immunization have changed the world from having the disasters of many infectious diseases to reach what is now said to be eradicated or eliminated. Seroprophylaxis is like immunization, but in less or a little popularity. For some diseases, we can give immunoglobulin as seroprophylaxis for example, in rabies or in hepatitis B, etc., whatever it is applicable. The second thing as a specific protection is the chemoprophylaxis. And chemoprophylaxis is by giving some medications for people who don't have the disease, but they are in risk of having certain diseases, to prevent the pathological changes for their diseases, like giving isoniazid for those who are at risk to have tuberculosis. The third way is by giving nutritional supplements. And nutritional supplements is one of the important things to prevent the diseases that are happening because of deficiency of certain elements in the food. For example, we are giving folic acid or iron for pregnant women because most of the more than 50% of the pregnant women are deficient with iron and folic acid. And to prevent, by the way, folic acid to prevent the development of a neural tube defect in the infant. Safety of the drug and the food is a way to protect people, specific protection for people from certain foodborne disease or toxication from foods or drugs. Occupational hazards, which are very common, can be protected by certain tools, like wearing helmets, like wearing gloves, etc. And there are certain occupations need to take certain precaution for their during their work to prevent having injuries or illness. And last specific protection measure is the control of the environmental pollution, whether it is air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, etc. As this pollution is controlled, the effect of that pollution can be very useful to prevent pathological changes for certain diseases. The second level of prevention is called secondary prevention. And secondary prevention is done by measures taken to facilitate the early detection and the treatment of diseases before the happening of the irreversible pathological changes. That's to say that the disease have already happened and the pathological changes have been started, but we will do our best to decrease these ill effects and try to stop the process and prevent it from reaching the irreversible change and complication to happen. So this is accomplished by two main ways: by using certain tests to detect the diseases before the symptoms appear, and this is called screening test, before the symptoms appear, but the disease is started in the body and the pathological changes have been started. Or by diagnostic tests, and this, as you all know, that diagnosis is done after the symptoms appear. The symptoms appear. Okay. Now, tertiary level of prevention means all the measures available to minimize the complications. Here, the disease have happened, the pathology have happened, and the change was already happened. But in this level, we try our best to prevent the complications, the long-term sequelae of this problem, this disease, or the exacerbation of further attacks from the same disease of injury, for example, and try our best to reduce or limit impairments and disability to promote the patient's adjustment for the irreversible changes that happened in his body because of that illness. So the tertiary level is working after the disease have already been diagnosed and being treated, but to prevent the complications of that disease. So in the tertiary level, we try, when the disease have occurred, we try to prevent impairment. If we can't, we will try to decrease or reduce any disability that can happen from that impairment and prevent whatever we can do to make that person handicapped and he can't cope with his new situation after having that disease. Tertiary level is working in these arrows, in these levels from the disease. Even when the person becomes handicapped from a certain disease, also efforts should be given to make him cope with his life with the presence of this handicap. طلاب الموجودين،